FIFA has just done something it desperately did not want to do: open an official investigation into Lionel Messi's Argentina. In the aftermath of one of the ugliest World Cup finals in living memory, a match that ended with players and coaching staff throwing punches and grabbing opponents by the throat, football's governing body has been forced into launching a formal disciplinary probe. A significant chunk of the Argentine squad is now staring down the possibility of international bans. So here's the question everyone is asking, and one we may never get a straight answer to: is FIFA genuinely holding Argentina accountable, or is this a carefully staged performance designed to prove to a furious watching world that the tournament wasn't rigged in Argentina's favor? We may never know for certain. But one thing is beyond doubt: Argentina are in serious trouble, and the players caught on camera are in the deepest trouble of all, because the footage is damning and they were caught red-handed. Let's walk through exactly how deep this goes. The match itself. We've already broken down the game in detail elsewhere, so here's the short version. This wasn't so much a football match as a 2-hour physical confrontation with a scoreboard attached. Around 50 fouls, 5 yellow cards, and a performance from Argentina so cynical and devoid of genuine attacking football that they finished the biggest match on the planet without registering a single shot on target, while Spain managed 12. Argentina's entire strategy appeared to be fouling, stalling, and dragging Spain into a scrappy, physical contest. That approach reached its low point in stoppage time, when Enzo Fernandez went in studs up on Spain's teenage defender Pau Cubarsí, earning a second yellow card and an early exit. Argentina played the remaining 30 minutes of extra time a man down, making Fernandez the first player sent off in a World Cup final since 2010. That was the football. What happened next turned a bad night into a full-blown disciplinary crisis. The brawl. When the final whistle blew, several Argentine players sank to the turf, Messi among them. As Spain's squad sprinted across the pitch in celebration, Nahuel Molina reportedly did the one thing a losing player should never do: he appeared to strike Spain's captain, Rodri, in the stomach as he ran past. Rodri turned to confront him, Molina squared up aggressively, and Eric Garcia rushed in to support his captain. That's when things escalated. Leandro Paredes, who had reportedly been agitating all night, grabbed Garcia by the throat and shoved him backward. He then turned on Gavi, forcing him to the ground with a hand to the face while teammate Thiago Almada helped pull the Spanish midfielder down. It wasn't only players. Argentina's assistant coach, Roberto Ayala, was filmed apparently grabbing Garcia by the throat as well, before appearing to strike Spain's Dani Olmo. Off to the side, Nicolas Otamendi was in Rodri's face, reportedly shouting accusations about complaining to referees throughout the match. To his credit, head coach Lionel Scaloni was seen sprinting around the pitch trying to physically pull his own players away from the newly crowned champions. Pundits didn't hold back. BBC commentator Joe Hart called it disgusting behavior, while Alan Shearer was blunter still, saying Paredes threw 2 or 3 haymakers into an opponent's face. A world champion had just been crowned, and Argentina's response was to try to fight them. FIFA's formal investigation. This is where FIFA's real headache begins, because now it has to act. On Monday, FIFA confirmed it had opened a disciplinary investigation, appointing what it calls a disciplinary and ethics prosecutor under Article 36 of its code to examine the post-match incidents. In plain terms, an appointed investigator will now review the referee's report, official match documentation, and every available angle of video footage to determine who should face sanctions. Molina, Paredes, Almada, and assistant coach Ayala are all reportedly under scrutiny. That last name matters more than people realize. Players losing their composure in the raw seconds after a final is one thing, but a member of the coaching staff apparently grabbing a player by the throat and swinging at another elevates this from individual misconduct to a federation-level problem, dragging the Argentine FA itself into the conversation around bringing the game into disrepute. Paredes is the headline case. The throat grab and the shove on Gavi resemble conduct that would typically carry an automatic red card if confirmed. But the prosecutor now has a full list of names, both on the pitch and on the bench, to work through. Crucially, the investigation isn't limited to violent conduct in the narrow sense. Article 13 of FIFA's disciplinary code covers offensive behavior and fair play more broadly, including conduct that violates basic standards of decency or brings the sport into disrepute, and that clause allows for bans that apply globally, across every competition. This isn't a minor domestic fine. This is world football's governing body deciding whether members of the losing finalist should be barred from the sport altogether. The vanishing red card. There's a detail here that should make FIFA especially uncomfortable. When Paredes grabbed Garcia by the throat, the officiating system briefly displayed a red card against his name. Moments later, that card vanished, and FIFA confirmed no disciplinary action was taken on the field at the time. Consider that for a moment. In the middle of a brawl, what appeared to be an automatic red card offense was flagged and then quietly erased in real time. For anyone who has followed this tournament's officiating patterns, that disappearing red card is almost too convenient to ignore. Whether it was a genuine technical error or something else entirely, the optics are damaging. The world watched a red card appear, then disappear, and now FIFA must investigate after the fact the very incident its own officials apparently declined to punish in the moment. A second investigation. And just when it seemed like one probe would be enough, here's why this situation is even messier. FIFA is simultaneously running a second investigation into Argentina, stemming from the semi-final win over England. After that match, several Argentine players celebrated with a banner reading "Las Malvinas son Argentinas," the Falklands are Argentine, reportedly smuggled into the stadium by supporters. FIFA explicitly prohibits political statements from players and teams, and has already begun disciplinary proceedings. The players allegedly involved, reportedly Christian Romero, Giovanni Lo Celso, and Lisandro Martinez, could themselves face bans, while the Argentine Football Association is likely looking at a fine. That means there are now two separate, open FIFA cases against the same team from the same tournament, stacked on top of each other. A pattern, not an isolated incident. To be fair to Argentina, there's real nuance here worth acknowledging. But before getting to that, it's worth noting that this is not a first offense for this group, it's a pattern with a paper trail. Rewind to the 2022 title and the controversy over the Golden Glove celebration gesture and the mockery aimed at Kylian Mbappé. Then, after Argentina won the 2024 Copa America, Enzo Fernandez, the same player sent off in this final, had to publicly apologize after posting video of a squad chant the French Federation condemned as racist. That same year, goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez was suspended for 2 matches for offensive conduct during World Cup qualifiers, after repeating his provocative trophy celebration and swatting away a camera. The Falklands banner appeared in 2014, and now again in 2026. Any single one of these incidents could be dismissed as a moment of heightened emotion. Stacked together, they start to look like a habit, and bringing the sport into disrepute becomes a much more serious charge when a prosecutor can point to a file this thick and this repetitive. Will the punishment actually be severe? Probably not, and history suggests why. After the 2022 World Cup final, Argentina were charged over conduct including Martinez's celebration gesture and the mockery of Mbappé in the dressing room. The entire punishment amounted to a fine of roughly $18,000 to $23,000, with no action taken against any individual player, essentially pocket change for a national federation. Even the banner has precedent. Argentina were fined around £20,000 for the identical Falklands message before a friendly back in 2014. And it clearly didn't deter a repeat performance. So the realistic expectation is that Argentina may escape with modest suspensions and another manageable fine. Still, FIFA does have real teeth when it chooses to use them. This is the same organization that banned former Spanish Football Federation president Luis Rubiales from all football activity for 3 years over the forced kiss at the Women's World Cup, and suspended Luis Suarez for 4 months over a biting incident at the 2014 World Cup, a ban severe enough to cost him the first 9 league games of his club's season. Even UEFA suspended Spain's own Alvaro Morata and Rodri for a match each over a controversial chant following the Euros. Real punishment is clearly within FIFA's toolkit, the question is whether it will be applied here. There's also no set timeline for the prosecutor's findings. For comparison, a similar UEFA conduct case earlier this year took more than 2 months to conclude with a 6-game ban. This story will hang over both Argentina and FIFA for a while yet, which is exactly why it's such a difficult situation for football's governing body. FIFA's impossible position. The football world will be watching closely to see whether FIFA treats its most marketable, globally beloved team, the team of Lionel Messi, the same way it treats everyone else, or whether the punishment quietly shrinks to a fine and a shrug. Either way, FIFA loses something. Punish harshly, and they've come down hard on the sport's biggest draw. punish lightly, and they confirm every suspicion that Argentina operates under a different set of rules. Silence from the center of the storm. Perhaps the most telling detail is that none of the central figures have apologized. Paredes broke his silence with a long, heartfelt message to Argentine fans about pride in giving everything for the flag, without a single mention of the brawl he was at the center of. Enzo Fernandez, whose red card left his team a man down for all of extra time, posted about honor and heartbreak, with no reference to the dismissal that helped sink his side. Romero, one of the banner holders now under investigation, posted about resilience and starting over. Beautiful, patriotic messages, everyone, and a collective silence on the actual conduct now under formal review. A note of fairness. To be fair one more time, emotions in the aftermath of a lost World Cup final are almost impossible to fully comprehend. Tensions had been building for 120 punishing minutes, and Scaloni was the one person visibly trying to calm things down rather than escalate them. Losing that way hurts in ways most of us will never understand, and an instinctive shove in the raw aftermath is a very human reaction. But there's a meaningful difference between a flash of anguish and a coordinated brawl involving both players and coaching staff, complete with punches and an apparent chokehold directed at the newly crowned champions, followed by a total refusal to acknowledge any of it happened. One is forgivable. The other is a pattern. And that pattern is exactly what FIFA's investigators have now been tasked with naming. Where this leaves things. Argentina arrived at this World Cup to defend their title and left it defending themselves to a prosecutor instead. Having lost the final on the pitch, they now face two separate FIFA investigations, a list of potential bans spanning both the brawl and the banner, and a fine that may end up being the least of their problems. The situation only gets worse from here, for Argentina, because the consequences are just beginning, and for FIFA, because there's no clean way out. They either discipline the most popular team on the planet, or they confirm they never truly would. The trophy went to Spain. The paperwork went to Argentina. And that vanishing red card went straight into the file marked questions FIFA doesn't want to answer. Where do you stand on this one? Should FIFA come down hard, or is losing the final punishment enough? Let us know in the comments, and when the prosecutor's report finally lands, we'll break down every sanction the moment it's official.